that carries us into another thing, and that is, do you play Caleb Williams in this game? And one of the things I said on Saturday for people who missed it on our special bonus show here at the Voice of College Football is that if Caleb Williams is fine, he should play. Now, and I'm not saying he is fine, okay? I'm not making any judgments about the severity of the injury. Lincoln Riley did say it was a, quote, significant injury. And he's, if the game was in 2 weeks, he definitely would not be able to play. But USC has 4 weeks. And so, we'll see. Now, so here's the thing. I have no idea just exactly how severe the injury is. But if it's pretty clear after 3 weeks, so Christmas Day, the Cotton Bowl is on January 2nd. If you get to Christmas Day and it's pretty clear that Caleb Williams is capable of playing without too much of a risk at all, you play him. And if there's a real question about whether he should play and you're just not sure, if it's murky, if it's uncertain, you don't play him. It's really that clear that you don't risk Caleb Williams' body over the Cotton Bowl if it's like this 50-50 shot or even 60-40 or even 70-30. But if he can be 90%, close to 100%, and he has most of his full mobility and range back, you play him because this is USC, and you should treat the Cotton Bowl with respect. You should treat a New Year's Six bowl game with respect. And one particularly smart USC commentator I follow, she said that Caleb Williams is exactly the reason USC is going to win this game, not just because of his talent, but because he's going to be that leader in the locker room, in the inner circle, who's going to say, no, guys, we're not going to take Tulane for granted. We're not going to treat this as some third-rate bowl game. This is the frickin' Cotton Bowl, and this is a chance to play in a big New Year's Six bowl game, and damn it, we're going to win. And this is how we carry ourselves. Caleb Williams is the guy who's going to provide that kind of leadership. So not just his talent, but his leadership is why USC is going to win if he can play and be reasonably effective. So I'm not saying you put him out there no matter what. I'm not saying that you play him if you're unsure. I'm saying that you play him if you're confident that after 3 weeks of rehab, he looks pretty much ready to go. But if it's a question mark and you're unsure, then you play Miller Moss and you live with the consequences and you try to really coach up this team and give it the best shot you have. But if Caleb Williams, after 3 weeks of rehab, going into the week before the Cotton Bowl, looks pretty good and isn't really suffering significant after effects, play him. He is going to be your quarterback next season. So it's not as though if he lightly tweaked, if he's pretty healthy, but he lightly tweaks something that, your 2023 season is shot. It's only if it's a real question. If it's a real question, then you obviously don't play him. But if he comes through the rehab fine, you should go after this game. That is the point I'm trying to make, that you shouldn't treat this as, a nothing game with no consequences, with no stakes, with no value. No, there's a lot of value here. And it's not just, let's not lose to Tulane. It's about you're USC and you're playing in a big New Year's Day bowl game, which, you haven't been in since the last Cotton Bowl in 2017, USC against Ohio State with Sam Darnold. Like, you've been waiting 5 years to play in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, obviously you wanted the Rose Bowl or the playoff. If you could have gotten there, that would have been a better outcome. But the Cotton Bowl is not the same as the Alamo Bowl. The Cotton Bowl is not the same as the Vegas Bowl. Like, if outcomes matter and we play games with a scoreboard and a running clock, like, it should matter that USC got here to the Cotton Bowl, to the New Year's Six, instead of a podunk game played before Christmas or, played on a Tuesday in Detroit, in front of 25,000 fans. Like, the bowl assignment should matter. Was it the very best bowl you could have gotten? No, but it's still a really, really good bowl. And if the culture is right at your program, you should attack the bowl aggressively. And I should point out, in terms of Lincoln Riley and his history at Oklahoma, OU played in the Cotton Bowl 2 seasons ago against Florida. And Sooners could have sulked because they weren't in the playoff. No, they absolutely dismantled that very good Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts team coached by Dan Mullen. They absolutely tore Florida to pieces. So like Lincoln Riley, a guy who grew up in Muleshoe, Texas, who grew up in a state where, the Cotton Bowl is revered because that's where it's played. Like Lincoln Riley gets the culture of the Cotton Bowl. He gets the history surrounding the Cotton Bowl as a Texas kid. So it's no wonder that he took the game very seriously, even when it wasn't a playoff semifinal 2 years ago with Oklahoma. So, hey, USC fans, if Lincoln Riley thinks the Cotton Bowl is a big deal, that's why you should treat it as a big deal. Not because I think the Cotton Bowl is a big deal. Just follow Lincoln Riley's example.